All high-pressure cleaners made at Krenzler are subjected to a final inspection, where they are thoroughly examined, mechanically and electrically. All appliances are only made available to customers after this extensive control has been performed. The latest computer-controlled diagnostic methods guarantee reliable functional and safety testing. Control of correct pressure build-up, pump output and control of detergent valve with caring liquid hose. The hood is installed in order to determine waste gas emission. In the case of this model, the fuel pump is set at 10 bar in order to ensure optimum combustion. The flow monitor is examined to see whether it has been switched off. Then it is fixed. In the case of C-series appliances, you must pay attention to the setting mark. A sensor for determining flue gas values is placed into the chimney. After that, CO and CO2 are manually finally adjusted on the nozzle stick. Flue gas analysis includes the following measurements: waste gas temperature, O2 remaining oxygen, CO unused components of oxygen, CO2 carbon dioxide formed during burning of fuel, NO, nitrogen oxide formed when the fuel burns with air. Lambda, excessive air. And loss, difference to 100% heating capacity. A protocol of test results is kept. Soot particles are measured. The result is compared with the values on this scale. After all these things have been done, the type plate is inserted with the machine-specific data and the serial number. The burner capacity and correct function of the thermostat and digital display on the control panel are checked. The operating hours of burner and pump can be displayed. Now, after the hand wheel has been removed, the maximum pressure of the machine, in this case 150 bars, is set and adjusted. Now, the safety valve for the heating coil is adjusted as well. The so-called pulsation damper reduces the vibrations in the heating coil. electricity control for volt and amperes. The antifreeze is filled into the machine and placed into the entire circuit. The red paint seals certain setting screws to guard against incorrect settings. If the machine satisfies all requirements, the measured results and the test protocol are attached to the respective operating instructions or placed into the operating manual. Before making repairs, ask your customer for these documents because technical details and components can change. The protocol is signed by the competent controller so that all results can be followed at all times. Copies are kept on file at the factory. The machine is now ready to be shipped by lorry, ship or container anywhere in the world.
The motor sets in motion what is known as the swash plate, designed to push forward the respective pistons and plungers, which in turn are pulled by a spring. This is a real view from inside a running high-pressure cleaner. This opens and closes the valves. This is a real view of a valve from inside a running high-pressure cleaner after starting up the machine. The 3 suction valves are at the bottom and the 3 pressure valves at the top. In the pump room, the plungers press the water through the high-pressure hose and out of the nozzle. Here, the same process once more, from a different angle. What happens when you use additional detergents for material care? When the valve opens, a vacuum is created inside the so-called injector. The detergent is sucked in, mixed with water and sprayed out of the nozzle. Closing the gun causes the flow of water to be cut and the pressure to increase, while the so-called check valve body is being actuated at the same time. A ball is now being pushed forward by the control plunger, thus enabling a pressureless water circuit in the pump. The water now continues to flow through a kind of bypass in order to prevent any components from being damaged or destroyed by the prevailing high pressure. This principle is also used with pressure switch on equipment using total stop in order to switch off the motor. Please read the respective operating instructions for your Krenzler high-pressure cleaner. Please note, the equipment may only be operated when it's lying. And, by the way, there's no water in the pressure gauge. All pressure gauges are filled with glycerine to absorb vibrations of the indicator. To keep your high-pressure cleaner in a perfect, serviceable condition, make sure that it has an adequate supply of water and the correct electrical supply. Unfortunately, not all users do this. First, a word about the water supply. Check first in the operating instructions or on the specification plate how much water per minute your high-pressure cleaner needs to be able to work. This will be between 7 and 22 liters, depending on the model. You may have to check the water supply on site. This is easy. Fill a bucket with a measuring scale, checking how much water flows into it inside a minute. If too little water flows out of the pipe, it may be because there are already too many water-consuming devices switched on and there isn't enough left over for the high-pressure cleaner. There's a certain hose length that must not be exceeded. This is normally between 1.5 and 3 meters. Check the operating instructions to determine the exact height. Now to the electrical supply. There are high-pressure cleaners that work on 230-volt alternating current and others that require 400-volt rotary current. The necessary electrical voltage can be seen on the specification plate of your high-pressure cleaner. This voltage must be identical with the voltage of the power source. An expert can easily check this with a voltmeter. As with the water supply, if there are too many power-consuming appliances switched on, your high-pressure cleaner may receive too little power. This can then happen to you. The motor can cut out or burn through, so always check with an expert if necessary that you have the right amount of electrical power. A cable that's too long or too thin can also prevent enough power from getting through. The general rule here is, if you have an extension cable of 10 meters or longer, the cross-section of the cable must be at least 2.5 square millimeters. Now you're ready to start. First, connect the high-pressure lance to the gun. Then attach the high-pressure hose. Unreel, making sure that there are no loops. The high-pressure hose should not be longer than 25 meters. Connect the hose to the gun. The safety catch prevents accidental spraying, so always apply it when you finish work. Check this screen filter. The water may have been dirty the last time the system was used. Now connect your high-pressure cleaners to the water line. The hose, by the way, must have a diameter of at least ½ an inch or 3/4 of an inch, depending on the model you are using. Now switch the system on with the trigger pressed, and you're ready to start. The desired pressure is easy to adjust with this hand wheel, and don't worry, the maximum pressure is already set at the factory. This hose with its screen filter is used when working with an additional detergent. Simply turn the regulator nozzle if you want to mix in the detergent. Remember that it's not possible to suck in additional media if you've extended the high-pressure hose to a length of more than 20 meters. If you are using a Variojet nozzle, simply slide the nozzle forward and the detergent will be mixed in automatically. Slide the nozzle back to stop mixing. After finishing work, switch off the system and turn off the water. Now press the trigger slowly until the pressure is released, that is, until no more water comes out of the nozzle. Apply the safety catch to make the gun safe. You can now unscrew the high-pressure hose. Switch the motor back on for about 20 seconds to completely empty the pump. Switch off the system and pull the plug out of the socket. In principle, the Therm works like a cold water high-pressure cleaner with an attached combustion unit. Please note, all the precautions we mentioned about water and electricity before are just as important here. Fresh water is sucked in at the underside of the pump before being transferred to the heating coil onto the high-pressure hose through the gun and into the nozzle. At the underside of the pump, fresh air is sucked in, directed into the combustion chamber and preheated. Fuel is injected through a nozzle and mixed with the air. And finally, the electrodes ignite this mixture. The flame burns from the top to the bottom, and the resulting hot gas flows past the heating coil, thus heating the water. The exhaust gases are released through the chimney.
At present, Krenzler offers 3 types of hot water high pressure cleaners in different designs and output categories. The O series, the 5 series with flame monitoring, and the new C class also with flame monitoring.
The therm is so finely balanced that you can turn it in any direction by slightly tilting it. Apply the brakes straight afterwards. Now connect the high-pressure hose to your therm. First attach the high-pressure hose to the spray gun and lance. This spray gun with incorporated pressure adjustment is available as an option only for 400-volt units. Attach the water hose to a water line and turn on the tap. Now connect your therm to the electricity. Press the trigger of the spray gun and switch on the therm. Open and close gun several times to bleed system. Here on the 5 series and with this switch on the 0 series. The therm is supplied with this starlet gun as standard. In the ignition off position, the therm is used as a conventional cold water high pressure cleaner. To heat up the water, you must switch on the combustion unit.
Possible leaks between lance and nozzle or on the handle must be corrected immediately, otherwise the components may wear very quickly.
Check beforehand that there's fuel in the tank. If you're working in closed rooms, you will have to follow the rules concerning the extraction of exhaust gases. This adapter for the exhaust pipe can be obtained as an accessory. Now switch on the burner and set the desired temperature, digitally with the 5 series, and with this thermostat on the 0 series. This is how to activate the steam stage up to 150 degrees Celsius, and again at this knob on the 0 series. On all models, the working pressure and the steam stage are set on this hand wheel. If you're working with additional media, you will need to put this small hose in the container of medium. Now open the valve for the medium so that it can be sucked in by the pump.